Hello, this is Mr. Wynn, and today's lesson is 5-2, dividing polynomials. So, be able to divide a polynomial by a monomial. So, polynomial is two or more terms. A monomial is a single term. All we're going to do here is break up the fraction to three monomials. So, really, we have 6x to the fourth y cubed over 3xy plus 12x cubed y squared over 3xy minus 18x squared y over 3xy. So all I did was make that one big fraction into the multiple fractions. I made three of them. And now we're going to do the properties from that last section from 5-1. So I'm going to simplify number divided number. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. X to the fourth divided by x. So I subtract them. x4 minus 1 is x3. Then y cubed divided by y. So y3 minus 1 is y squared. That's the first one. This next one, well, 12 divided 3 is 4 on top. X cubed divided by x is x squared. Y squared divided by y is y to the first power. This next one, 18 divided by 3 is 6. X squared divided by x is x. Y divided by y, that's really y1 minus 1 is y0, and 0 powers of 1. It disappears. They basically cancel out. So here's my answer. Now, if I asked you for the degree of this, you would say the degree would be 5 from that first term, from that thing. Because x3, y2, 3 plus 2 is 5. Alright, now you need to do long division. So y'all have learned long division from elementary school. You may have forgotten. So I'm doing an easy problem first and then a hard problem. So y'all should have done the right side. This 9,260 divided by 3. If you remember, or if you forgot, you're going to use this number 3, and you're going to figure out what you multiply this by to make it match this first number, or whatever's closest to it. So, well, I know 3 times 3 is 9. That number that I put on top is what I multiply it by. So I'm going to do 3 times 3, I get 9, I put it right underneath. Now notice, they're both positive. I'm trying to make the numbers match, so that's good. If they match, they're going to cancel out. So although they're both positive, you're going to have to do the opposite. So even though it's positive 9, it's really 9 minus 9, which makes 0. I then drop this next number, 2. Well, what do I multiply 3 by to get 2? Well, I can't do that. So I need to put a 0. So 3 times 0, 0. That makes 2. I now bring this all the way down. So 23. What times 3 gets me 23? Really close to it. Well, 3 times 7 is 21. So they're both positive. Remember, I'm doing the opposite. It's really 23 minus 21 gives me 2. I drop this last number, 0. Well, what times 3 gets me close to 20? Well, it's 6. That gives me 18. So they're both positive, but really it's 20 minus 18 is 2. So y'all in elementary school, you could write R2 for the remainder of 2. Now in high school, we don't really do that anymore, but it's really close. That 2 is still the remainder. All you do is just write that 2 divided by the thing on the side that you had, 3. This is my answer. If I put in the calculator, or if I did 3,076 and 2/3 times 3, you'll get 9,260. So following that process was the same thing on the left. I'm trying to make this outside thing, like the 3, match the first thing. And it's always going to match no matter what. All right? Now, we don't even care about this -5. It's there because we're going to have to multiply with it, but I care more about this first thing, x. So how do I make x match x squared? Like, x times what is x squared? Well, that answer is x. So when I multiply by x times x is x squared. I have to multiply that -5 too. So -5 times x is -5x. Now, like before, those first things match. They're supposed to. If they match, they're going to cancel out. Even though they're both positive, that's really opposite. X squared minus x squared is 0. It's gone. It's supposed to disappear. Now, positive 3x minus 5x. Well, remember, that's really a plus 5x. You do the opposite. Makes 8x. Positive 8x. So I'm going to write the 0. Now, you bring down the last thing. So minus 40. Now, how do I make that first thing, this x again, match this 8x? Well, I just multiply by positive 8. Alright, so I multiply the left side by positive 8, so x times 8 is 8x. Get that line, because I don't need any more. And then negative 5 times positive 8 is negative 40. Remember, we want them to match. Those 8's or x are both positive, so they can cancel out, because really it's 8x minus 8x is 0. And then this next one, negative 40 and negative 40, they match. Really, that's negative 40 plus 40, which is also 0. So we're done. There's nothing to bring down. That's our remainder of 0. So I don't need a remainder of 0. That's my answer. Now, if you don't believe me, I could quickly show you that if I multiplied x minus 5 times x plus 8, I should get that thing back inside. So if I FOIL or double distribute, that's x squared plus 8x minus 5x minus 40. Combine like terms, basically combine this middle part, I get x squared plus 3x minus 40, which is the same thing inside. So that's how you do long division with letters. So now let's try a harder problem. Where's the thing? Here it is. So this is going to combine a little bit of knowledge from 5-1. Remember, this negative exponent means it has to be on the bottom of the fraction. So I'm going to rewrite this as x to the 4th plus x cubed minus 6x squared minus 4x plus 14, all divided by x squared plus x minus 2. So this actually is a division problem. You know, it looks like multiplication. Take it exponents first in PEMDAS. So now let's write it in our long division form. So inside is x to the 4th plus x cubed minus 6x squared minus 4x plus 14. That's being divided by x squared plus x minus 2. So again, I'm trying to figure out how to make this first thing match that first thing. How does this x squared turn into x to the 4th? I'm going to multiply by x squared. So when I distribute x squared to everything on the left, x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X times x squared is positive x cubed. And negative 2 times x is negative 2x squared. So the signs are matching. They're both positive. That means they cancel, because that's really x squared to the 4th minus x to the 4th. It disappears. X cubed, x cubed, they're both positive. They match. That means they cancel, because that's really x cubed minus x cubed. And negative 6x squared and negative 2x squared, they don't match. They don't cancel. That's really negative 6x squared plus 2x squared. That gives us negative 4x squared. Now I'm going to bring down the next one. And technically, if there's 3, you can bring down the other one too. Alright, so how do I make x squared match negative 4x squared? Well, I multiply by negative 4. So when I multiply x squared times negative 4 is negative 4x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. And negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. So the first two match, negative 4x squared, cancel out, because that's really negative 4x squared plus 4x squared. Negative 4x can match, they also cancel out. So this is really negative 4x plus 4x, which is 0. And the last one, 14 and 18, they don't match, they do not cancel out. So that's really 14 minus 8 gives me positive 6. So here my remainder is 6. In Algebra 2, we don't write R6, we just do 6 divided by what we're dividing by. X squared plus x minus 2. This thing right here is my answer. Alright, be able to do synthetic division. Synthetic division is a special trick that works instead of long division if you don't like the other way. However, this only works if you have a linear term right here. So this would not have worked for this because this was a quadratic term. But the one before that was linear, it would have worked. And I'll show you that in a second. So let's see how this works. For synthetic division, we're going to make a little chart. And this is a box in the corner and the numbers. The box in that top left corner is the root, the answer. Remember, this x minus 4 is a factor. If I said that equals 0, I have to add 4 both sides. Positive 4 would be the root. Now we are going to write this without the letters, just the coefficients. So in front of x cubed is 2. In front of x squared is negative 13. In front of x is positive 26. In front of the thing without x is negative 24. You need to have terms equal to 1 more than the degree. So since this degree is 3. That means I need 4 terms. I need 4 terms. 4 numbers. So that's why I have 2, -13, 26, -24. If they're missing something, say for example they are missing the x squared, I would have to put a 0 there for 0x squared. Anyways, for the technique, once you have that, it's very simple. You just bring down the first number. That's it. Then you multiply that number by the number in this box. So 2 times 4 is 8. You just add straight down. So -13 plus 8 is -5. Now that -5 I multiply with that number in the box. So -5 times 4 is -20. Add straight down. 26 minus 20 is +6. Then number on the bottom I multiply with the number in the box. So 4 times 6 is +24. Add straight down. That's 0. Now this is my remainder. There's no remainder here, so that's nice. Now these bottom numbers, that 2, that -5, that 6, that's going to be our coefficients that go with the letters, but we go down an exponent. So all of this was the x cubed number, this was the x squared number, this was the x number, and this was the constant number. This 2 goes with x squared. That -5 goes with x. That +6 is the number without the letter, and again, 0 is our remainder. So here's my answer. Now if I had something instead of 0 at the end, then I have to write that number divided by x minus 4. And that's it. Let me go back to this problem though. So let's do synthetic real fast on this one. So in my box would be the root. Well, x minus 5 is the factor, 5 is the root. In here I have the coefficients. In front of x squared is 1, in front of x is 3. The number without anything is -40. So remember the degree is 2, I need 3 terms. All I do is that technique. Bring this down, multiply across, so 5 times 1 is 5. Add down is 8, multiply 5, well 5 times 8 is 40. Add it on 0. So remainder is 0. But remember that 1 and 8 go with the x's. So although this was x squared, x in the linear, it goes down an exponent, down a degree. So that 1 goes with a single x. And that +8 is by itself with no letter. That's the same answer you got on the left. So synthetic is nice for linear factors. Anyways, here's your practice problem. Try that. It is a linear factor. You could do long division or synthetic. There's your answer. If you knew that, you should be fine in class. And this is Mr. Wynn. Thanks for watching. See you in class.